Hi, I'm James Stuber. Thanks for taking the time to hear my story. I received the call exactly 2 weeks after the Beirut blast. I had reached out to Joseph Yuzgatian, a former law client of mine, who I knew was visiting his mother and had gotten stuck there during the coronavirus. Not really thinking that he would be in danger, but I did text him to see if he was okay. Joseph had followed in his deceased father's footsteps, becoming a dentist. And after he was my client, he went on to receive his doctorate degree in dentistry at Nagasaki University and a master's degree in dental public health from Harvard University. And he was working for Harvard in bringing modern dental practices to Rwanda. But he had gone to visit his mother, so I reached out to him. He called me back and almost apologetically said it had been 2 weeks and he only now was able to reach out to people because of the trauma of the blast. It turned out that his family's home is an apartment on the 8th top floor of an apartment building on a hill overlooking the port of Beirut, only a half-mile away. And this blast, they are saying, had 1/4 the force of one of the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So that day, Joseph had gone out onto the balcony and was filming a fire at the port with his iPhone when the building where the fire was burning exploded. The blast blew Joseph and his mother back 30 or 40 feet into a wall, breaking one of his ribs. They were lucky to survive. His mother had been sitting on the couch right next to the glass in the living room immediately previously and had only just gotten up. But their housekeeper, Vanessa, was not so fortunate. She was still out in the living room. And when the blast hit, she got a fractured skull and a severed artery in her arm, and she was bleeding out in the living room. The blast was so powerful that it actually blew Joseph out of his shoes. Here's a photo of him and his mother, of his mother standing next to the place where Joseph was, and his shoes are in exactly the same spot where they were when the blast hit. But he managed to get to Vanessa, apply a tourniquet, and carry her down eight floors of stairs. And on third try, found somebody who would allow him to take their car and try to get her to the hospital. All the windshields were destroyed, and he had his head out the window, driving down the wrong side of the street, driving first to St. George's Hospital, just a block away, but it was utterly destroyed, and then driving to a second hospital where it was a total chaos, but they managed to give her an IV, and the doctor said that if he had been there a few minutes later, it would have been too late. But she's recovering, as you see here in this photo of Joseph with her in the ICU. So it really was a miraculous story that they survived. But their apartment has been destroyed. Here's a photo of some of the volunteers that showed up to clean up the mess. And their wall that faces the port was mostly glass, and the aluminum frames and the glass have all been destroyed. And they need to be replaced before the rainy season comes in a couple of weeks from now. It's especially important because they're on the 8th floor of this building, the top floor, so they need to secure their apartment so they're not raining on those below. That's going to cost $10,000. And the Beirut economy is in a shambles. The bank accounts have all been frozen, and it's really a total mess, and the Yuzgatians are without any resources. So I told Joseph that I wanted to mount this GoFundMe campaign and see what we can do for them. I spoke with Joseph a few days later, and he told me that the woman who managed the supermarket in Rwanda when he was there teaching dentistry and whom he had befriended had reached out to him. She was a victim of the genocides in Rwanda and had lost nearly all of her family in the first day of the genocide. She had been apart from her children for 12 years before they were reunited. And she had reached out to Joseph and said, "Joseph, tell me how I can send you $100, which Joseph tells me is half a year's wages in Rwanda." So I'm thinking, if his former friend in Rwanda can make that kind of offer, what might we do for the Yuzgatian family? So I hope that you'll consider this appeal and do whatever you can, from $10 to $10,000 and everything in between. Let's see if we can't help the Yuzgatians take the first step toward rebuilding. Thanks for your consideration.